Okay, thank you for coming. I've been doing this a long, long time, and we did a session yesterday and a session about to start, and I haven't seen this much interest for a number of years in these awards, so good to know. My name is John Pearson. I help sample the Rhodes Marshall Scholarships. Diane Merck, that some of you probably already know, is the manager of the Overseas Resource Centre upstairs, which both advises on all these scholarships, not just UK awards, but also Fulbrights, Luz, Schwartzman, Yenching, and many others. And also is the person to make sure, if you do apply, that your applications are complete and uploaded on time. It might sound a trivial thing, but it's a very important thing when you have to meet these national deadlines. So what I'm just going to do tonight, and I encourage you, please, to ask questions at any time, is really try and answer two big questions. We can't really answer them completely now, but the two questions are these awards something you're interested in? And if you are interested in them, how can we help you kind of figure out whether you are a competitive applicant? Because that's the question when we meet one-on-one that we always get asked. Am I a competitive applicant for these awards? And that takes a bit of getting to know you before we can answer that. One thing I would recommend, I think probably above everything, is please spend a bit of time on the websites of the Rhodes, the Marshall, the Gates. They're much better than they were 5 years ago, let alone 10 or 15 years ago, and they will give you a sense of what they're looking for. And one of the things I just want to say about certainly the Rhodes, Marshall, and the Gates, and maybe you can throw the Fulbright to the UK into that, is that for many years I've done this, I'm increasingly uncertain about what these awards are actually looking for. I think 15 or 20 years ago you could say the Rhodes and the Marshall were very distinct scholarships. That the Rhodes looked for this and the Marshall looked for that. And I'm not sure that's true anymore. I think they're coming together around certain common characteristics that they look for. And we'll get to that in a few seconds. So look at the websites. I think certainly the Gates website, last time I looked at it, was very enticing about spending time at Cambridge. The Marshall will tell you about the criteria they're looking for. And the Rhodes website just gives you an overview of what the Rhodes Scholarship is, what it allows you to do at Oxford. So what do these awards offer you? And I'm not going to try and go too specific about each one. Well, they all offer one thing. They offer you the chance to continue your education in the UK. And no matter what you may have heard about these scholarships, deep down, they are academic scholarships that allow you to pursue your intellectual goals, and to do that in the UK. The Rhodes only to Oxford, the Gates only to Cambridge, and the Marshall to any British university. But they do have, again, some common characteristics. And let me just go through some of these common characteristics. Also, the Fulbright to the UK is to any institution in the UK as well. You have to have a bachelor's degree before you go. Can you have a master's degree before you go? Absolutely. But you have to have that first degree before you begin your studies, not by the time you apply, but by the time you go. They're all academic awards, so you have to have a strong GPA. The only one of these scholarships that says we're looking for a certain GPA is the Marshall. And the Marshall says that they're looking for 3.7 or above. There used to be a little more understanding of US higher education, because they used to say 3.7 after your first year. But about 10, 12 years ago they decided to remove that. So it's 3.7. And that's a good guide, I think, for Rhodes and Fulbright and Gates. But you have to, I think, show that you've done more in your academic career than just the classes and the grades. So that's independent research, that's directed readings, that's honours thesis, that's anything that shows that you've taken your academics just beyond the norm, isn't the right way to put it, but just beyond the classroom work. If I'd have done this talk 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would have said, here is a major difference. That the Rhodes also wants to know about your life outside the classroom. It wants to know about your leadership. It wants to know about your passion for making the world a better place. Whereas the Marshall is fine with you going over there and sitting in the classroom and just being an academic and an intellectual. The Marshall has changed. So the Marshall is now interested in leadership and how you think about the world, more importantly, how you think about the special relationship between the US and the UK. And the Rhodes is still thinking about how have you thought about public-spirited leadership? And the Gates also is also interested in how you have thought about how you want to make a difference as a leader, however you define leadership. And you're probably, all aware now that we have this new wonderful scholarship to Stanford, the Knight Hennessy, also talking about leadership. Everybody wants to put the word leadership in whatever they're now doing without really defining what they mean by it. So you define it, the scholarship. This is how I see myself as a leader and where I want to make a difference.